Welcome to yoga. Thank you for being my practicum student.
Welcome.
This class is going to be focused on opening the hips. Do you have any injuries or any problems, especially in the hip area?
Just some chronic tightness in the muscles around the back of the hips and some tenderness in this groin.
Okay. Good. So just a tenderness or a tightness in the right groin?
There's tightness too there, yeah.
Good. And anything else?
Well, if I'm on my knees on the mat, I tend to get knee pain.
Okay. Well, we have a blanket available for you to use, so feel free to use your blanket and be comfortable. We will be spending a lot of time on our knees and tabletop. So as always, also, are you all right if I give physical adjustments?
Oh yes, that's fine.
Good. As always, we'll start with breath work. We're going to start with a box breath of inhaling for 4, holding the breath for 4, exhaling for 4 counts, holding the breath out for 4 counts, and continually. And on your initial in-breath, think about breathing in from the floor of the pelvis, expanding the hips, expanding the chest, and then we'll hold for 4, exhale for 4, holding the breath out, and maybe squeezing the pelvis or the hips in. So we're already starting to activate the hip region. So just begin on your own breath with an inhale. And 2 more breaths. And when you finish your breath, you just bring your blanket down for a knee padding, and we'll come into tabletop. And making sure in tabletop that your hands and wrists are under your shoulder, and your hips, or your knees are directly under your hips. That looks good. How does that feel?
Feels good.
Good. Let's just take 2 breaths here, finding the strength of our foundation. And let's bring a little movement into the breath by coming into cat-cow, Chakravarkasana. Just dropping your shoulders, your torso down. Inhale forward. And exhale, pulling your navel up. And continuing on your breath. as you come into your next inhale, coming a little bit more forward into your cow, and your cat coming a little further back, almost bringing hips to heels, still keeping that rounding sensation, and just continuing to make your cat-cow a bit bigger, beginning to activate the hips. And on this next inhale, we'll make this the last inhale, and just come back into cat, into tabletop. Rechecking your alignment. And I'll demonstrate our next move. We'll just bring by engaging our core, we'll bring our left knee up and out to the side at a 90-degree angle. Inhaling that knee up, and we'll exhale halfway down. Exhale all the way down and hover. Inhale that knee up, and on your own rhythm, exhale, part all the way, hover. And just 2 more times on your own. And we'll come over and do the other side. Inhaling that right leg up, 90 degrees. You can move your bolsters slightly out of the way. And good having both ankle and knee bent. And just 2 more. And just push back into a child's pose. Laying your hips, maybe go side to side, bringing some just sweet movements, tick-tocking, any motion that feels good in your hips. And you can come to stillness. And I'm just going to give a little assist to your hips. Let me know how this feels.
That's good.
Good. And coming up, back to your tabletop. Bring your toes out to the edge of the mat. And we'll just come up into a wide-legged downward dog, Ardha Mukha Shavasana. And from here, perhaps bringing your hips up and down, a little bend in the knees, waking up the hips, widening them. And on one more, we'll come into stillness in our down dog. And I'll just give another little assist. Open your hips back, how's that?
That's great.
And maybe a little lift, lifting the hips to the sky, and then letting everything else sink down. And I'm going to release my hands. When you're ready, come back to tabletop. And let's take another round of 2 cat-cows here. And from here, just pushing back to a wide-legged child's pose, Balasana. And I'm just going to give an assist from here, coming into your shoulders and walking back to your hips. Maybe giving you a little rock. How's that?
Oh, that's really great.
Good. And just a little release. And coming back to tabletop. We're going to come into some pigeon variations. So from here, slide your right knee a little bit forward and just start to walk your left toes back. This is a very easy pigeon variation that you can always return to. And you may want to look back at that extended foot to make sure that it's straight and out behind you. How does that feel?
Great.
Good.
Yeah.
And we'll just take 2 breaths here. And you may need to adjust your blanket, bringing that forward shin into full pigeon. Ekapada Konasana. Good. And from here, you may want to just take a little exploration of your hips. How are they feeling?
Yeah, better.
Better. A little rocking. It looks like you have some room under your hips, so I'm just going to offer a little cushion here. How does that feel?
Yeah, that's better.
Good. And let's take 2 breaths in this upright pigeon. And our next variation would be coming down into sleeping pigeon. I like to rest my hands on my wrist or my fist. And we'll just take 3 breaths here. Just to have a full relaxation in your hips. Opening up that connective tissue, opening up the joints, opening up the structure of the hips. Good. I'm going to offer a block for your head, if you'd like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Good. And one more breath, and I'll offer up the option of taking that block and bringing it, pushing into it and bringing it over your head just to add a little strength. Just a few little arm exercises. Good. And you can drop the block when you're finished. I'm going to remove the blanket and you can come back to tabletop. I'll keep that handy. And from tabletop, we'll do the other side, bringing that other knee forward. And extending the right leg back. How does that feel?
It's good.
Good. Take any shifting that you need. And 2 breaths here. And when you're ready, you can bring the shin of that forward leg forward across your body. Remember, it doesn't have to be at an extreme angle. And see about propping this side up. How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
Good. Let's scoot over here. And 2 more breaths here. And if you'd like to come down, you can use your hands or the block. And we'll just take 3 breaths, relaxing across the hips. Good. And if you'd like to add that arm exercise, you can push into the sides of the block and just bring it over the head, a little tricep work. Just adding a bit of weight. Good. And you can let the block go down, pushing back up into your pigeon. I'm going to remove your little prop here, coming back into tabletop. And just finding your tabletop, again, this perpendicular arrangement of hands under shoulders, knee under hips. And we're just going to do a little push-pull. It's a movement we don't often do. Just pull yourself forward, push your hips back. Adding your breath, inhaling forward, exhaling back. Engaging your arms, your fingers. Good. And 1 more, forward and back. And then from your tabletop, we can release the blanket and just come over on your back. We'll come into final rest. If you'd like the blanket to lay over you or for your neck,
Yes,
like it under your neck.
that's great.
Would you like a bolster
Oh, yes.
for your knees as we work on the lower body, the hips?
That's great.
Okay. Take this opportunity to just let your hips relax and stretch out. And I'm just going to keep the time for a minute. Just feeling your breath relax, your hips relax, everything relax. When you're ready, you can roll over on your side. And any movements you want. Rocking is always one of my favorites. And when you're ready, you can come up to a seated position. And how do your hips feel now?
Oh, much better.
Much better, Lisa. What about the right hip, the right groin?
It's also less tender.
Very good. Well, thank you for being in my class.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And namaste.
Namaste.